The offensive side of the coaching staff is gutted. Do you think the personnel is next to follow, John, or you think this is revamp the coaches and get this personnel playing better?
Well, it's going to be an interesting conversation because look, if you want to show some patience and you want to, if they're inside the Novacare complex and saying, you know what, we're not that close. Let's reboot this thing.
Yeah.
Um, let's trade AJ Brown. Uh, if Lane goes into retirement, let's let Dallas Goedert walk. Jahan Dotson's obviously going to walk. Uh, Not that he's that impactful, but you need a wide receiver 3. I mean, a lot of guys
Are we there,
potentially.
John? Does that make sense to think? Am I off base? I mean, I know things move quick, but shit, man,
Well, yeah,
I don't
I'll,
feel
I'll
like we
tell you
should
what
be there yet.
it makes more sense than when we started this conversation and Jeff Stoutland was still here. It makes more sense to say, all right, we're going to have some growing pains with Sean Mannion. Let's get younger on offense. Let's get cheaper on offense. Let's start to draft offense and let's start to develop those players. But yeah, um, it's a tough loss, man. So
Howie Roseman's got his work cut out for him this offseason. I'll tell you that much. John, last question for you tonight, and then we'll get you tomorrow on Birds 365. Full breakdown of this, full reaction. We'll talk to John Stolness in hour number 2 tomorrow on Birds 365. How bad does this look? And I want you to, I know you don't like the word perception, but I also know you're smart enough to understand the impact it can have. How bad does this look on Nick Sirianni?
Well, I think there's a lot of optic issues for Nick Sirianni. So I think he's really in the hot seat. I mean, there's no question. Just from the standpoint of turning the offense over to somebody with such little experience, and now all of a sudden you're a Hall of Fame level assistant coach is out the door because you're changing philosophies. I mean, yeah, but there's also part of it as I said, I kind of talked about that with I think it was BLG today as well. It's like, what is that dynamic when you have somebody who's done it at the level that some of these assistant coaches have done it, and all of a sudden a 33-year-old guy, and I don't want to rip Sean Mannion because everybody speaks glowingly about him.
Pressure's on, Sean. I don't give a shit how old you are, how much experience you got.
Well, yeah, I mean the pressure, which is why it didn't make sense to me, which is why I would have went in a different direction. I mean, they're putting incredible part of, if you're the offensive coordinator in Philadelphia, I always joke, you're going to get shit on, but that's part of it. Doesn't matter who you are, what your name is, what your experience is, you're going to get shit on. That's just part of it. But it would be nice if you're that young in your coaching career to be in a different, more laid back situation. And he's not going to be in that situation. I think I think it was a bold move by the Eagles. I said it, and a strange move, because look, all anybody talked about, you talk about perceptions, Zander. All anybody talked about was, well, Petullo is a first-time play caller. He's and then you go hire another first-time play caller with less experience. Where does that compute with the optics of the situation? So you can look at that good and say they don't give a crap, which is good. Or you can look at it as a bad situation because here comes the, second guessing. I'm gonna put the over under by second quarter week 1 when the second guessing starts.
And the booze. How about that? I'll give you a game one. The booze will rain down at Lincoln Financial Field. John, we will see what happens here. I do not think this is good. I don't know how. I will look through it tonight and bring you guys some more intel tomorrow. But John, to me, this looks horrible. That's how I view it. Horrible. And by the way, I don't know if it's Nick, man. I'm starting to wonder if the upstairs is making Nick change the offense, especially after hearing you talk about how much confidence he had. I mean,
Yeah,
one
well,
year they're
yeah,
still at what,
I
11 wins this
definitely,
year?
I
I mean,
definitely
they're
think.
down. Their down years though are 11 wins.
Yeah, I mean, when again, you can look at it a good way when there's nothing wrong with high expectations, but there's also nothing wrong with, being sensible either and realizing that 11 wins when basically everybody on offense doesn't play up to their previous standard ain't that bad. I think more people in that building should have recognized that, but they didn't, seemingly.
John, good stuff. I will talk to you tomorrow, my friend. Your final thought on the departure of Jeff Stoutland tonight.
All-time great coach, all-time great teacher. And, in the coming days, I'm sure you already saw it from Kelsey. You'll see it from everybody else. They will speak, his offensive lineman will speak glowingly of him. Very tough, but very fair. And nobody developed more offensive linemen over the last 13 years to the level that he did in the NFL. So to think you're going to get better because you're shifting the concepts and you're shifting the scheme. I always tell people, teaching is the most important part of coaching. And to think you're going to get better than Jeff Stoutland, if any fans are saying that because they're drinking the Kool-Aid, it ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen.
Johnny Mac, good show. I'll talk to you in the morning. All right, brother?
All right, see y'all.
All right, thanks, Sean. That's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining me right here on a special breaking news edition. I'll take some viewer comments now from the great people of JAKIB Nation. I won't be as nice about it as John was. I think this is as bad of a look as it can get. You're talking about a team that was on Broad Street parading last year, me, you, and all the fans and everybody alike, talking about the golden era, talking about this is our opportunity to go and seize our dynasty. Everybody in our divisions had a dynasty. We don't have a dynasty. This is our moment. A young team, a young unit, a young group. Go get them. Now it looks like turmoil. I mean, I don't care how positive you are as a fan. Losing Jeff Stoutland, guys, is a different level. And I saw somebody in here saying, I think we overrate him. Please go do a Google search tonight of how many our Pro Bowl players have played under Jeff Stoutland. Now, you can sit here and tell me the whole time that it's not all Jeff Stoutland. Find me another O-line coach with that many. Find me another O-line coach with that many. I think it's 23. Let me see if I can find the number. Let me see if I can. 26 Pro Bowls. Okay? 26 Pro Bowls. And Jimbo asking the right question. Why now? Zay Stout could have left a month ago. Good question, Jimbo. Because it's not good right now. No matter how you slice it, no matter how positive you are. You lose a guy that's been here for 3 Super Bowl trips, a decade of having one of the best offensive lines in Philly. I mean, one of the things that's a foregone conclusion in Philly every single year as fans is we know this. We know we're going to have a pretty good O-line. Now, I know it didn't hold perfectly true this year, but if you go and look at the advanced numbers, the O-line wasn't as bad this year as we thought. They weren't good. They weren't the Eagles standard, but that just went out the door. That assumption went out the door. And that's how you win football games in the National Football League is you win in the trenches. You win in the trenches. My guess right now, and I hope I'm wrong on this, is that Lane Johnson retires. John said something. Hey, a 63-year-old Jeff Stoutland doesn't want to change his scheme. I agree. Why would he, right? Well, why would 36-year-old Lane Johnson want to listen to a new O-line coach? He's going to coach him up in a new scheme, move him this West Coast, this spread offense, this outside zone. And I'll tell you what, and I include myself in this conversation. All right, I include myself. All right, so I'm going to rip myself here as well. I hope we don't get what we wish for. You know, how many times have you heard me on shows saying, why do they play this bullshit offense? Why do they do this? Let's throw the ball. Let's get AJ involved. Let's do all these different things. I was doing it. In fact, I'll talk to explicitly myself because I don't know how all of you view it. I can't speak for you. Well, now we're about to see. We're about to see, man. We're about to see if the desired change that I felt so strongly in certain moments, if that's the right thing. I don't think the quarterback's going anywhere. The head coach is obviously not going anywhere. The running back's not going anywhere. A.J. Brown might be gone. Devontae Smith's not going anywhere. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens aren't going anywhere. You heard John talk about Saquon Barkley. I hope everybody realizes how true of a point that is. This run game that all these West Coast guys want, it's not fit for Saquon Barkley. It's not. We will see, man. We will see what happens. This is not good. I'm telling you right now, I got a pit in my stomach right now. I'm sick to my stomach. All right, my stomach is doing, you know when your stomach does a front flip and you just feel it, 40 minutes later, you still feel it. 50 minutes, an hour later, you still feel it. It's a pit. I came on these shows about a year ago at this time, February 9th, 2025. The Eagles won the Super Bowl, their second in franchise history. February 15th, we paraded down Broad Street. I came on the National Football Show after that parade, rushed home from the city, drove through the great traffic and everything, got to the chair, and I proclaimed that the golden era of the Philadelphia Eagles was starting. The golden era was starting. The dynasty would be here. We'd have three